Tyler sat in the back row of the classroom, his eyes fixed on the clock that seemed to slow down with each tick. The hands of time were unyielding, marking the endless minutes of his final math class before graduation. He felt like an outsider, invisible to the world around him. The hum of chatter, the rustling of papers, and the occasional giggle filled the room, but Tyler was lost in his own thoughts. Tyler's high school years were a blur of missed opportunities and quiet moments. He wasn't the star athlete or the class clown. He didn't have a group of friends that he could lean on. Instead, he spent his days blending into the background, unnoticed and unremarkable. Every day was a struggle to get through, a silent battle against the anxiety and self-doubt that gnawed at him. As the final bell rang, Tyler's classmates erupted in cheers, their excitement palpable. They hugged, took selfies, and made plans for the summer. Tyler slipped out of the room, unnoticed as always. He wandered the empty halls, his footsteps echoing in the silence. The walls were lined with posters celebrating the achievements of his peers, but there was no mention of Tyler. His name was absent from the honor roll, the sports teams, and the yearbook's superlatives. He made his way to the school's courtyard, where the graduation ceremony would be held the next day. The chairs were already set up, the stage prepared for speeches and applause. Tyler stood there, staring at the rows of seats, wondering if anyone would notice if he didn't show up. Would anyone miss him? Would anyone care? Tyler's mind drifted back to the times he had tried to reach out, to make a connection. The times he had been met with indifference or rejection. The friendships that never blossomed. The dreams that never took flight. He felt a lump in his throat, a weight in his chest. The tears welled up in his eyes, but he blinked them away, refusing to let them fall. As he stood there, a breeze rustled the leaves of the nearby trees, and Tyler felt a strange sense of calm wash over him. He realized that he didn't need validation from others to know his worth. He had survived high school, and that in itself was an accomplishment. He had faced his demons, fought his battles, and come out the other side. Tyler took a deep breath and walked away from the courtyard. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew that he was ready to face it. He would find his own path, make his own mark on the world. And maybe, just maybe, he would find the recognition and acceptance he had always yearned for. As he left the school grounds, Tyler felt a newfound sense of hope. He wasn't defined by his high school experience. He was more than the labels, the cliques, and the missed opportunities. He was Tyler, and he was ready to write the next chapter of his life. Tyler walked past the familiar landmarks of his high school, the trophy case he never contributed to, the cafeteria where he often ate alone, and the library where he found solace among the stacks of books. Each step felt like shedding an old skin, a layer of his past that no longer fit. He reached the edge of the school grounds and paused, looking back one last time. The building stood tall, indifferent to the countless stories it had housed, the laughter and tears it had witnessed. Tyler felt a pang of something, nostalgia perhaps, or maybe just the weight of endings. But as quickly as it came, it faded, replaced by the thrill of the unknown. The streets outside the school were bustling with life. Cars honked, people hurried by, and the world seemed to move at a different pace. Tyler felt a sense of freedom, a release from the confines of his high school existence. He walked on, each step taking him further from who he had been and closer to who he could become. He reached the park where he used to sit and dream, the place where he often found himself when the world felt too heavy. He settled on a bench, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows. Tyler closed his eyes and let the warmth seep into his skin, his mind wandering to the possibilities that lay ahead. College, a job, new faces, new places. Each thought was a thread of hope weaving into the fabric of his future. As he sat there, Tyler realized that he wasn't alone in his journey. There were countless others like him, navigating the same uncertainties, facing the same fears. He wasn't the only one who felt invisible, who struggled to find their place. This shared experience, this silent camaraderie, gave him strength. He wasn't alone. He was part of something greater. The sun dipped lower, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. Tyler stood up, feeling lighter, as if the weight of his past had finally lifted. He knew there would be challenges ahead, moments of doubt and fear, but he also knew he had the resilience to face them. He began to walk towards home, a new sense of purpose guiding his steps. The world was vast and full of potential, and Tyler was ready to embrace it. He didn't have all the answers, but he had something more important: the courage to keep moving forward. As he disappeared into the horizon, Tyler left behind the shadows of his high school years. He carried with him the promise of new beginnings, the hope of discovering who he was meant to be. His story was far from over. It was just beginning. And somewhere, out there in the wide expanse of the future, Tyler knew he would find his place.